Yo, yo. Yo, yo. Yo, yo. Mookie.
What's up, man? What's up? I made myself heard, baby.
It's all good. How you feeling?
All right.
Everything good with you?
Everything good.
And we back
Yes, sir.
with another reaction video. Now, Mookie,
Yeah.
I got us a Real Madrid player, bro.
Okay.
Somebody requested this in the comment section, bro. They say main man right here is amazing.
He's amazing.
I was having a conversation with one of our subscribers.
Right.
He was giving me all the details about him and why we should react to him. You feel me? I don't know how to say his name. Like I told y'all before, I let Mookie mess up the name and I let y'all get on him. Can you pronounce that?
It's Arda Guler.
Okay. Arda Guler. Look, he is a Turkish professional footballer who plays as an attacking midfielder for the La Liga League. La Liga club. His club is Real Madrid.
Yes.
And for his national team, of course, Turkey.
Right.
Feel me? So he's a midfielder. So I'm gonna switch this video up for me and Mookie. Instead of us always reacting to highlights, I'm trying to increase our knowledge. So we gonna react to like an analyst who analyzes game. You feel me?
Okay.
And that's more interesting for me and Mookie sometimes. Unless he Messi, Ronaldinho, you feel me, out there getting, you like, whoa! But look, man, if y'all new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
Yes, sir.
Mookie!
Yeah.
Let's get straight into it.
The Turkish Haji or a roided Fabio Vieira?
Oh, really? You heard how you said it?
Arda.
Just how good is Arda Guler? Judging by some of the compilations going around of Guler, you wouldn't be blamed for thinking this is the second coming of Messi, and the stats also feed into that impression that this is an elite ball carrier who's ready to side through the best defences in Europe. Personally, I don't think his dribbling ceiling is as good as a Messi. His range of footwork compared to, say, a young Odegaard is inferior. What he does have going for him is superior agility compared to the Norwegian. The big question is, how will he develop?
That was
Nice,
cool.
Nice step over, yes.
I like that.
Is superior agility compared to the Norwegian. The big question is, how will he develop physically? How will he develop the power to burst past the best fullbacks or CDMs as his career progresses? Right now, I'd say it's touch and go. Because whilst he undoubtedly will get stronger, I don't see that same explosive burst that I saw in young Messi versus Juventus back in 2005. Also, the move to Real Madrid concerns me. He needs regular game time to develop and hone that burst, and if he misses that window of opportunity, it's going to reduce the ceiling by which his dribbling impact can grow. If you look at Bernardo Silva versus Sancho, Silva earned his stripes in what was a very tough league for slower wide players, the French league, whereas Sancho went to Germany where the likes of Kagawa were able to thrive. Where you play and how often you play and how early into your career you get exposure to this has a big impact in terms of your long-term development as a ball carrier. It pushes you to new heights physically. Messi made his name as a world-class right-wing forward before becoming a GOAT-level false nine. I think Guler's career needs to be more central inside forward areas where he doesn't have to go one-on-one against powerful, fast fullbacks if he's to thrive in the bigger leagues.
Arda, şık bir hareket Arda'dan. Ceza sahasına girdi Arda. Nefis hareketler Arda'dan. Arda yerde.
Emre süratlendi, çapraza vurdu. Kaleciden sekti. İkinci hamle gol.
Unsurprisingly, with the nature of Guler's spectacular strikes, he outperforms his XG. His finesse shot in particular has already caught the eye and gone viral, with a goal against Wales, a genuine golazzo that took the breath away. It wasn't a fluke, as Guler has mastered the art of the power finesse, which seems to spring off his instep and pick up pace. Reminds me of Baggio, Del Piero in terms of technique, albeit left-footed.
Wow.
He's got such comfort in his finesse technique that he can even dare to attempt lobs from distance, first time on the volley using the instep. Outrageous attempt, which reminds you of a young Rooney where anything seemed possible. He also has a great disguised reverse shot from just inside or outside the box, which he slides along the floor to the near post. Very reminiscent of Odegaard.
That left foot, he got vicious. He made sure he he gets to that left foot, bro. That's like his. I mean, of course, that's like his go-to. But I know.
You know what?
I know players get to a point that they learn how to use both of their feet to score.
Of course.
You feel me? So I guess main man is still at his development stage.
He gotta be. That's the whole point of this video. And then the guy was talking. If he go to a major club, you know they got veterans that's already proven themselves at these major clubs like La Liga or the Premier League. These places they got certified vets already there. And, you know, it's sort of like going into the league in the NBA. He ain't going to sit on the bench.
He ain't going to get no time.
He ain't going to get that much time,
Right.
In terms of his drilled long shot, he needs to work on the lace technique, the valve hit, but I wouldn't put it past him to master that. If there's one thing going for this kid, he's a natural ball striking technician who picks up things easily. Even his right foot, whilst there hasn't been any spectacular goals, there's been glimpses of him trying volleys from distance.
Okay.
And they haven't come off, but the technique looks quite solid. And one can definitely imagine him improving it to the point where you start seeing these arrow into the back of the net. 1v1, he doesn't get into many opportunities, which probably explains his low XG. He's not naturally going to be running off the shoulders of defenders and getting in on goal. So it's difficult to say what weaknesses he has in terms of his 1v1 finishing. But there's a warning sign perhaps that a wing forward role where he'd be expected to notch 30 goals a season like a Mo Salah is probably going to be beyond him.
Orta geldi. Salah!
They say the art of crossing is dead in the modern game, but Guler is an excellent crosser, especially when he drifts out onto that left flank. It looks flawless when he's in that inside left channel and he curls the ball into the box. There's zero luck element to it.
Wow.
Just pure vision, understanding of where the defenders are situated, where the ball needs to be just to avoid their attempts to intervene. Just sheer chef's kiss. On the right side, when you go...
So I don't know if crossing is like for me crossing what it seems like it's like an alley hoop.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like they saying like crossing the ball over to the field.
But you got to put the ball exactly where it needs to be. Like American football. Like when the quarterback throws the ball, he kind of throws the ball before, you know, the wide receiver turns. He puts the ball exactly where it needs to be. He doesn't throw it at the wide receiver. He puts the ball where it needs to be, and the wide receiver goes gets it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro. Like, even though this more of an analyst for the player, and I know that y'all be saying that we don't watch more knowledgeable videos, but this actually teaching us something at the same time.
Right.
Like, this is actually dope. I like the way how main man breaking it down. Shout out to him.
Goes down the line, he tends to flatten out the cross with the weak foot, which can be predictable. So he needs to work on that to make himself more of a two-way threat on the right flank. In terms of his inverted left-footed cross, it's solid, but at times it can be overhit. I wouldn't say technically it looks superior to an Anthony from his Ajax days, but there's scope for growth here, so I can't see how this doesn't get better in time.
I ain't mean to stop it on this, but crossing, bro, like, if we was playing football, I ask, like, yo, do you know how to pass? Like, how your crossing is? Like, how your crossing is. Like, you got to make sure you can get the ball to me,
So
sure.
that's something you would do in practice.
Yeah, that's dope.
Buluştu. Birebir yakaladı. Arda sıyrıldı rakibinden. Arda geriye bıraktı. Şut ve top. Arda.
In terms of his general possession game, his link-up game, Guler has the soul of a playmaker. He was born to run games. Whether he's going to master the art of doing so at the very highest level, in terms of Champions League finals, remains to be seen. But this trait will never leave him. You can see how he just gravitates to the ball. He's always demanding it, instinctively taking over from his teammates and making space for himself to receive and giving them a clear option when they're on the ball. It's a very similar vibe to a Pedri of Barca. He's a true classic 10 in that sense. Guys like De Bruyne, Bruno are more outcome focused, whereas Guler treasures the ball. He doesn't just throw it away. Each pass seems to count for something, and then he can also control as well as create in equal measure. Weirdly, at this tender age, his link-up play looks like the old man version of Messi, i.e. the one who's not a winger but drops off the front and links up, obviously with a higher volume because he's got more dynamism than Messi. But it is reminiscent of Messi for Argentina in the World Cup, and the style of link-up play in terms of the way he receives off the back foot with pictures already built in his mind, it's eerily similar. Guler potentially does have a future in midfield. Probably not as a pure centre mid, but he looks natural in deeper areas. When he drops off, there's no sense of panic, and there's a strong sense of what's too risky and how to find pathways out of pressure to progress the build-up. There are little errors here and there, but that's natural for his age.
Açtı önüne gidiyor Arda. Ayağın dışıyla şimdi Valencia'ya. Valencia.
So not only can Guler use his pauser to control the game's tempo, he can also use it to create at will. His weight of pass is sublime for his age. And he's a very clever line breaker, finding little ways of sucking opponents in, only to play a smart pass through for his teammate to run onto. This is probably the aspect where he resembles a Bernardo Silva the most. Due to his close control laces way of dribbling and playing with such an effortless head-up style, he can release passes before opponents are set or that they can read when he's about to release a pass. Very similar to Foden type of player, but also reminiscent of Guti. Things he needs to work on is perhaps his dinked through balls whilst running into a crowded box. He hasn't shown a great deal of long range slide through passes, but against Wales we saw one which split a defence wide open. So he's got it in his locker. He just needs to balance risk and reward and keep fine tuning that weight of pass.
Geldi, topu kazandı Arda. Pasını verdi Valencia'ya. Valencia Güler. Arda bekledi. Arda'dan yine İrfan Can'a. İrfan Can topu önüne aldı.
In terms of his long passing, Guler takes the breath away. These are numbers comparable to Pedri. Okay, it's in a weaker league, but the eye test suggests that whilst he can be a tad over-ambitious, he can certainly hit jaw-dropping, lofted through balls from range. L1 triangle might become his new nickname because this attribute will surely age like a fine, non-alcoholic wine. Now, what has completely rocked me, though, is these right-footed attempts. Okay, some of these switches and balls into the box feel a tad hit and hope, but they're very close to being accurate. And then when you see a pass like this where he's opened up a defence with his weak foot, it's so rare to see that from any pro footballer, let alone a 70-year-old kid. His switches of play in general could have a tad more zip to them, but they're not loopy, so they're already being hit with a solid technical foundation. They just require further fine-tuning to be perfect. Overall, definitely impressed with this quality.
Tekrar diğer kanada dönüyor. Arda. Arda sol kanatta. Arda yükseldi, kafayla indirdi ceza alanı. Michy Batshuayi.
Perhaps the attribute that's shocked me the most, and we've made reference to it on social media, is Guler's heading. Now, we compared his long passing to Pedri, but his heading is reminiscent of Gavi to some degree. He leaps like a salmon, wins flick-ons from goal kicks, and when crosses come into the box, he lays off chances with his head by out-jumping opponents. Now, it's true that the Turkish league is not a barometer for aerial brilliance, but to be doing this against grown men from difficult, loose aerial balls is still impressive, and at the very least, he'll be above average compared to most wingers or cams who get dominated in the air. Now, if we look at De Bruyne,
that hitting, that gotta be hurting sometimes. Bro, you think people be colliding with their heads?
You'll get used to it.
Right, it's just
it's like an extension of your foot.
Right, it's like a natural thing for real.
Szoboszlai, Bruno, their aerial numbers in the last video that we talked about, Guler surpasses them all, and eye test wise he looks more competitive and willing to put his head where it hurts. In terms of actual goal threat in the box, I haven't seen any major indications of this, and with his size it may prove difficult to fully impose himself against centre backs. Remember, most of his duels are against fullbacks, so that might prove to be a tough nut to crack long term, but I'm sure he won't hold himself back from doing so. Defensively, Guler is full of beans, as you'd expect from a young 17-year-old burning with desire to make his name. He tries to work hard off the ball, he looks to press, and his reading of the game defensively, it's okay, but he can be a bit frantic and mistime his challenges or just miss the tackle completely. Generally, though, I'd say in 1v1 situations, he is competitive, he is combative, and yes, he can get skinned now and again, but I wouldn't call him a defensive liability. Quite how his defending will fare when his profile grows as a player and if he becomes a leading man on the playmaking front is anyone's guess. But if he does drop deep into a midfielder role into his career, there's enough there to say that he's got a defensive foundation to probably match, say, an Eriksen at United in this regard. Tactically, Fenerbahce playing mostly a 4-4-2 or a 4-4-2 diamond with the likes of Enner Valencia and Batshuayi up top. Guler features mostly as a right-sided midfielder in the 4-4-2 with license to cut in. Very similar in terms of the spaces he takes up to Bernardo Silva at City. Now there's been games in which Fenerbahce have gone with 3 at the back, and in a 3-4-1-2, Guler has been used as a number 10 behind the 2 strikers. He's one of those rare attacking midfielders who does actually pull off the classic number 10 position. But what role would Guler enjoy at Real Madrid? It's worth noting Real Madrid is a club in flux. Core components in the team have either left, like Benzema, or are aging, like Modric and Kroos. Not to mention new signings have come in like Bellingham, which makes it difficult to predict what Madrid's approach is next season. If Camavinga retains his spot at left back, we could see an attempt to squeeze Guler in to the right wing position and move Rodrigo into 9, with Tchouaméni sitting and Valverde and Bellingham as the 2/8s in front. I think the negative of this is I don't think Guler's got the physicality to beat La Liga fullbacks week in, week out, and Rodrigo's lack of physical presence at 9 means that attack looks very lightweight. And does Carvajal have the energy to get up and down to provide that lateral reference for when Guler roams inside? I don't think so. My own preference would be Guler at number 10, which would mean a diamond is used and perhaps Rodrigo and Vini are used as split wide strikers. I don't think it's a viable shape for the league, but for big ties in Europe, I think it could be pretty difficult to play through and quite handy on the counter. I think it also removes him from physically having to go 1v1 against fullbacks, and then he's got plenty of muscle and legs behind him to protect him if the game becomes too physical. Another option could be a box midfield with him in an inside right attacking midfield position, and all manner of combinations are possible with that box midfield. Right there.
Mbappe don't play for Real Madrid though.
We try and get him though, baby.
I think the key attribute Guler could bring to Real Madrid is that once Modric and Kroos depart, none of the other star-studded central midfielders can control a game or patiently unlock a defence. He's probably the only one who has a natural element of pauser. On the flip side, whilst Modric and Kroos remain, and the desire to integrate big money signing Jude Bellingham takes centre stage, Guler could become an...
I've been seeing some videos about him. We got to do an analyst or a reaction to him too.
Okay.
He another young kid that's amazing for Real Madrid.
Okay.
Afterthought, and his development may stagnate as he goes from a burgeoning star who's getting plenty of game time to being on the outside looking in. In conclusion, there is no denying that Guler is potentially, if not already, a Champions League level talent. He looks at home, at Europa level, and his game is so polished already in terms of technical and tactical foundations that he could arguably walk into the lesser lights of the Champions League in terms of the group stage teams without question. The bigger question is his ceiling. There has to be a degree of Turkish league tax, and also the fact that he hasn't really been exposed to top level sides like some youngsters do just by virtue of where they've started their career. Guler just hasn't had that exposure, and going to Real Madrid may prove to be a very steep shock to the system. Based purely on his technical talent and ignoring his physical limitations or potential growth curve, he looks like potentially a generational player. He reminds me of Hadji in that he's an alpha who demands the ball under pressure. He likes to have the game under his control, probing, creating, capable of chaotic goals, creation. I think in terms of international football, he should become an icon. As for the elite club game, there's very few holes in his game, but it's hard to ignore the physical flaws he does have. Now, of course, every 17-year-old is bound to get quicker and stronger, but if we look at that dynamism, growth potential of young Guler to say a Messi at Barca, you'd have to say he looks more likely to follow in that Bernardo Silva, Odegaard route where they almost have to take a sideways step before they make it back to the top, where he has to play that orchestrator role rather than the let me score 30 to 40 goals and run the opposition ragged star forward type. Based on the fact that we're not sure if Real Madrid is the right club for his development at this moment in time, it has tempered our expectations. Ideally, he would have moved to a big league first, but a club where he's going to get constant game time before then making that step up to an elite club. Don't be surprised if there's a loan move eventually if game time is not forthcoming. I'd recommend a club in the top 5 European leagues that's operating at Europa level, ideally even Champions League group level. So rather like Odegaard, this Guler project might have twists and turns and it might not be smooth sailing. One thing is for sure, the kid's got eye-catching talent, and whatever happens with Real, I think he will undoubtedly become a Turkish legend. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, share and subscribe, and do check out our Patreon for exclusive videos that we can't post already on YouTube. See you guys again next time. Bye.
Very insightful. I'm definitely going to be looking out for this kid, you know.
Right.
He's something to look out for. I want to see his development. Now that I see, you know, the forecast of, you know, his talent and, you know, I want to see, is he going to have the right foot finish? You know, is he going to have a certain presence when he's, you know, when he's on a pitch? So I want to see his development. Now I'm intrigued just to see who he is.
Yeah, this the person that did a video made it very interesting.
Yes,
and I just feel like for most people in sports at a young age, bro, once they get around better people, they start to work on their physicality, their strength and everything. And it only determines, okay, is I'm going to put in this extra work to be the best.
Right.
So that's what I feel like it come down to it for him. Because I feel like he's very skillful. I feel like he is there.
Right.
But I just feel like he going to have to put in that extra work to be, of course, where every other player would want to be at.
Right.
But for him to play for Real Madrid and around those great players, I think that's amazing. Like you said, the time can be an issue.
Yeah.
But I think he should just use that for development, bro.
Exactly, yep.
You feel me? But yeah, man, this was a truly amazing video. Amazing. Anything else you gotta say before we get out of here?
Looking forward to seeing this young dude.
Facts. If y'all new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
Yes, sir.
We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. I'm Nick DUNSON.
And I'm Mookie DUNSON.
And we out, baby. One.